Mr. Jerald Bowman is a Caddo Commissioner. Hey, Mr. Jerald, thanks for taking time with us. How are you today?
You there, Jerald? Can he not hear us?
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Great. Good morning to everybody this morning.
I'm hearing that Queensborough was hit really hard by the storms Friday night, Saturday morning, and we're not hearing or seeing much about it. How bad is it out there, Jerald?
It's actually pretty bad. It's gotten a little better due to the work of the city workers and SWEPCO and just people volunteering. But to the point that you mentioned about that people did not know, that's actually my neighborhood. My house was actually, we were fortunate by the grace of God not to have damage, but right next door to my house is a tree that's been uprooted, and it's all the way in the yard and into the back of my neighbor's house. And it's like that, like every other house, either there's roof damage, trees uprooted.
Every other house?
Yes, ma'am. Had some type of effect from the tornado. I mean, it was that bad. And so what got me, I can tell you, I was talking to someone from, I'll just say, a certain rescue disaster group, and I will say Red Cross, as soon as I was able to get in contact with them, they have been doing great, especially Miss Michelle Davis. But prior to that, I got up after the storm. I got up out of the house probably 15 minutes later, when we started going door to door to some of the neighbors. Some of our neighbors had to be rescued out because the tree fell on them. But when I talked to the rescue worker, what got me was I said, don't you know it's really bad out here? And he said, well, we didn't really know. I said, well, how not? He said, well, because we go where the media goes. And he said the media was in Houghton and Bossier, and I understand that, especially with the child. And he said, we just really found out yesterday. And so I had to take them through the neighborhood, because you can't see it on the main thoroughfare, on Jewel or Lakeshore. You just have to go in, and Red Cross said it was just as bad as Bossier.
Are you seeing homes that are completely destroyed, or just tree limbs down, etc.?
I'm really not seeing homes that are completely destroyed. What I have seen are homes that may not be inhabitable due to the roof caved in because of the tree. And it's so amazing that these are trees that have been here probably over 100 years, so they're big. And it's amazing to see how many that were uprooted, or if you go through the streets, you can see how I could not get to my next block because a tree was covering the whole street on Grove Avenue.
So how is the removal of the trees? How many people have been displaced? Has repair work begun already? What's the status of that neighborhood right now?
We're preparing. We're getting power back. I did not get power in most of the residents, and I received power until yesterday. So that's 4 days without power. And then I had constituents and neighbors who called me because the night before that, it got below 32 degrees, and it was freezing. So people's food have spoiled and that type of thing. But this is also an area that has been known to have not the best crime statistics,
Sure.
And so people did not want to leave their homes.
Describe Queensborough for folks. It's up there between Hearn and Jewella, I guess, and near Willis Knight North.
Like from Independence Stadium, from Jewella, Greenwood Road to Lakeshore, all the way to Hearn, to Willis Knight. Yes, ma'am.
So what kind of help are you looking for from the city of Shreveport, and you as a Caddo Commissioner? What sort of assistance can that commission lend?
Well, we're waiting to see now that area is trying to be declared, a disaster. That's the type, protocol we have to go through. But we are prepared to do as we have done with when we had tornado victims in Blanchard, as well as the flood victims. We partnered, worked with the Caddo Council on Aging, and they worked with also Red Cross in getting, people who may not have had even insurance, and it would help because sometimes FEMA, it takes a little while sometimes in between that, and so that helps to bridge that time lapse.
Mr. Jerald, I had asked a couple of seconds ago, and how can you put a number on how many people in the Queensborough neighborhood, how many are out of their homes, how many have been displaced?
I really don't have that number. We found out, even Red Cross was saying that they've tried to reach some of the people, but they were there anymore, because they had to get out. So we're still trying to connect with neighbors to get information. But really, the main thing that we were needing and people were needing was like tarp. We had some, and I think Red Cross is helping with that. And like in a 3300 block of Frederick, there's a lady named Miss Joanne, and she's paraplegic. And I had to climb through limbs that were already cut in order to get to her home. Her brother told me that she could not get out, and so she had not eaten, and it was such a sad situation because the food had spoiled. And I just prayed with her, and then that's when I got in contact with Miss Michelle E. Martin at Channel 3, and we got in contact with Miss Michelle Davis, and I said, you'll have to come out and come through the neighborhood, come on my street and see what's going on. Because
if Mr. Jerald, pardon me, if folks wanted to lend a hand, Red Cross, is there any other special funding set up that Shreveporters can help other Shreveporters?
At the moment, just Red Cross and possibly United Way, but definitely Red Cross because they're out on the scene, trying to work and connect with persons who, may be displaced or just damaged itself. That's maybe they can dwell in.